Hi everyone. Working as a product analyst within e-commerce, you will pretty often get the question from product managers or from the management about how do people move on the page. I want to understand the user flow. I want to know how they're moving along on the page. In what order do they visit certain pages, or something like that. And in this video, I wanted to show you how you can use a Sankey chart to visualize these kinds of questions. Because I mean, typically you can't really use a bar chart, you can't use a pie chart, and Sankey chart is a pretty nice way of doing this. And here you can see one example of how a Sankey chart looks like. It's basically something that visualizes flows between different stages, and you see the lines in between. It's kind of, and they are proportional to each other. And if you have a thick line, it means that you're having a large amount of flow coming from point A to B. And if it's a small one, you have like a small amount. And this thing is typically used for, you can use it for like visualizing energy flows in a system. You can use it for revenue streams, but it's also a very, very nice way of visualizing customer journeys, which we will do today. In this video, I want to walk you through how I will prepare some data, some e-commerce data in BigQuery, prepare it, and then plug it into Looker Studio and show you a very, very basic visualization of this. So let's go. Okay, so let's jump into the data a little bit, and we will use one of the public data sources that Google is providing us with. There is one data set which is named the Look e-commerce, where we have a few different tables, and we have one of them that's named events, which is a table full of different events, and we will use this data set to work with, and it looks pretty typical as like a pretty normal data set for events. You have sessions, you have timestamp for the event, you have a bunch of geolocation data, and in the end, you also have the event type. And so now we kind of need to tweak this data set a little bit before we're plugging it into Looker Studio. And before I'm starting to deal with it, I wanted to show you how we want the end, like the end result to look like. So we kind of need, we want a table that looks something like this, which is that we are having one source, we're having one destination, and then the amount of things that is flowing in between. So here I just put up some examples. You have the source with home, you have destination is cart page, and we're adding hundreds of sessions or events doing this thing. Same here, home, product page. So this is what we want to reach when dealing with this data. So that means we will need to fix this. So I will start by just grabbing out the columns that we actually need, and that's not so many of them. There's actually only 3 of them. And I will show you how it looks like. We can order it by section ID and create an ad. So you can see how this looks like a little bit. So you see here, we're having the session ID. So here we have the first session ID. You have the flow here, timestamps, starting at the home, moving over to department, product, etc. So this is the only 3 columns that we actually need. Now what we want to do is, in order to make this kind of thing where we're having the source and the destination, I want to bring up this information up until the previous row. And we are of course doing that with the lead function, where we are taking the event type, we are making an overclose partition by session ID, and we're ordering it by created at sending. There we go, and then we're naming it next event type. Cool. I will actually also introduce one more variable that we will need, which is also the normal rank here. We're making it the same here, so we can copy this guy up here and just naming it as a ranking variable. And running this, you will see how it looks like. So now we got this extra columns. We're having a ranking variable, just shows us kind of in what order things is happening. So this is the first event of the session, the second event, the third, fourth, and fifth, etc. And in this column, the next event type, we are bringing up the next coming information. So here we have home, department, here we have a department, to product, because product is coming afterwards, etc. So this already looks fine. Let's make this as a CTE. Things as having this, we need to think about one case that can happen, and this is if we are looking a little bit here into this file, you will see that, for example, we're looking at this one here. Let's go down a little bit more. We are trying to find a good example here. You're having the product to, let's see. So we're having, come on, don't find it. So we're having here the home to, you can actually take, sorry about this. We are having, so let's take down here maybe. So we have the product to cart. Yeah, so here, okay, that's good. Here you see one session starting on the product page and then going to the cart page directly. So here we have the flow product to cart. We're having the same thing happening down here for this session, but it doesn't happen in the first step because it's happening like much later on in the session, actually in the 8th step. If we were about to just aggregate these things now, event type and next event, we would not capture that this is actually happening in another step in the flow. So what we will need to do in order to fix that is to introduce one new variable where we are using this ranking variable and creating like a new column. I will show you how to do that. We're making the concatenation by this. Then we're naming it source event. We're taking the next one for destination event. And here you see that I'm actually using rank +1. And I'm doing that. I will actually show you to you when we are finished. It's easier as destination event. So there we go. From base, of course. There we go. Now we have two additional columns up here. And you can see here now that we have home, department. Now we added one home to two department. And that's why I took the +1 in the query, right? Because we need to make it like it's the second step, and therefore 1+1 gives 2. And that's the reason for it. Perfect. So now we got this, and we can make this 2. This already looks pretty fine, right? We got it done. So that means that we could actually aggregate it using these two information, these two columns only. If we're doing that, then destination event count this session ID there's 2, and then we're grouping we are getting this information or this aggregation, which looks actually pretty good. It looks pretty much familiar to what we were having in the beginning, where I showed you we want the source, destination, and some kind of width or amount, right? So here you can see that we're having for the first step, the department, you have the source department, the destination is the cart, and you have the amount. We can actually up here. It's like this 2,300. You have one that is going from department to department, etc., etc. All right. Looks pretty nice. I want to, if I'm scrolling down a little bit, we can do it, and I will show you because we need to do two more things before we are moving over to Looker Studio. So here, for example, you have one case where we have the purchase event, and the purchase event is actually something that's kind of one of the targets. So the end result will be that either the user has purchased something, which is kind of the end of the journey, or they are bouncing out or ending the session. So that means that I don't actually want to keep this information here because that will clutter up the Sankey chart a little bit. And so let's try to get rid of all the things that is happening in a session after the purchase event. And by doing this, I will actually add it here. So I will get the minimum created at, and I will actually make it like this, a case when event type is purchase, then created at, and over um, um, and this I will name as the first purchase created. So, and this means that we are having this information here, and we can use this in a condition down here. So let's say that all the created at events has to happen before this purchase event up here. Perfect. We need to think about one more thing, because if a session don't purchase anything, we will get a null value. Purchase null value. So in this case, I will actually handle this down here as first purchase credit. So if there is no, I will set it to the current date, the timestamp maybe. Because in this case, we will need to include everything. We don't want to kick away anything. So therefore, I'm setting it to the current timestamp, and then we should be fine. So that means that we will not have this this last purchase. So if you remember what we had this. Let's see if we are seeing it again. We had a 7 purchase somewhere down here, and this is gone now, so we don't have it. We're only having the 6 product 2 7 purchase and nothing else. All right. One more thing before moving over to Data Studio is that we want also to handle the case where we're having different. So now we are having the purchase down here can happen we can have it like a 7 purchase, but if we're going back a little bit, you will also see that we're having a purchase. We can actually just do it like this. Destination event like purchase. We're doing it like this. So you will see that we're having different we're having a lot of end events with purchase. We have 12, 13, 3, 4, etc., etc. And we want to kind of consolidate this into one purchase event because it doesn't really matter. We don't need to split them up because that will just clutter up the Sankey chart. So I will remove this guy here and I will make it as here as a case when destination event is like, we are making the like here, purchase, then purchase. If not, we're taking the destination event and then we're saying end as destination event. Gotcha. So now we've also handled the thing that we are kind of consolidating all the final purchase event into one. So this is then the final data set we can't log into Google Data Studio. So let's do that. I'm just taking this here, moving over to Data Studio. It's an empty report here. Let's just add some data. We're going down to BigQuery. We're doing it as a custom query right now. So just to go there. Pasting it in down here, just letting it run. And we will see how the result looks like. There you go. We have the data. We can this initial thing, and if we are going to the edge chart, you will see the Sankey chart down here, and we are just plugging it in here, making it big and nice. You also see here that we are having the source event and the destination event already added, so that looks fine. The thing that we will need to fix is the weight metric here, which we don't want to have as the record count, but we want the sessions. And switching it, we are kind of finished. So what you will see here is a very, very basic, but still pretty informative graph of the Sankey chart. So let's just look for a few or take some a minute to look at what this actually tells us. So we're having the starting point here, which means that you see that most of the sessions are starting on the department. You're having a few of them are starting on the product page, and some of them are starting on home. And this makes it you can kind of follow the users who are starting on the department. So for clicking here, I think it will highlight only this journey. So you will see that you're having almost everyone is moving over to the product page. So we don't have any drop off in the first step. What happens in the second step is that some of them are going down this line here into the cart. And some of them are going this line here. So from product into null. And then you can kind of follow along in the steps. You can go, so what happens on the cart. You also see here that you're having a pretty high drop-off rate. If we're instead looking at, for example, another case, so if you're seeing the people starting on the homepage, it looks like they are having a very, very high conversion because you see that almost everyone is going to the department, then they're going to the product page and to the cart, finally making the purchase. So there's like a very, very small amount of drop-off here. Maybe that's because of the data in the test data set or whatever. But in any case, we've like successfully managed to build a Sankey chart in a pretty easy way. Needed to tweak the data a little bit in BigQuery, but still, I think that was not too bad. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please uh, make sure to subscribe for more content and take care. See you around.